We have the management of Suzlon here. I'm just trying to give a frank opinion, Gurmeet, and I'll take a view from Shivangi also after that, after the interview. But very frankly, Gurmeet, 30 seconds, wind energy, is it a good pocket or are you wanting to wait for some time? 30 seconds.
I wait, Neeraj. I will pay Tata Power and some transmission names more. I find the order book more, visible there.
Okay, but the thing about Suzlon's today's numbers is that not only were the results good, 90% uptick in revenue and profitability, margins expanded a little bit, but the commentary in the con call is strong. The O&M income after a couple of years, or maybe after 1 year, is also looking solid. So a lot of positives here. Himanshu Mody of Suzlon joins us right now on the show to talk about the numbers and the outlook ahead, most importantly. Himanshu, good having you. Thanks for joining in. This quarter almost seemed like clockwork in terms of the top line and the bottom line performance, the expansion in margins that you've shown. I mean, very strong performance. Is this likely to continue in quarter four? Some quarters say that the numbers could be even better in quarter four.
So clearly, quarter four historically, if you look at it, has always been the strongest quarter for us in any given financial year. So from a deliveries perspective, I do believe that quarter four should be a tad better than quarter three in terms of our deliveries. From a margin perspective, I think between Q3 and Q4 there won't be too much of a variance or too much of a difference. So I think we should be able to maintain those margins. Of course, the challenge for us would be to maintain those in the longer term.
And what beyond Q4? Sorry, Himanshu, Harsh also joining in. What beyond Q4? How quickly do you get to 6 gigawatts? And what should one make of the margin expansion? How quickly can it expand? Where should the top line lie? Maybe for FY26 broadly?
So I'm not sure where you get the 6 gigawatt number from, but let me put that in context.
Sure.
Our order book currently is about 5.5 gigawatts. Now, that order book we need to deliver over the next 2-year period. So, of course, there is an active pipeline of orders which we are also negotiating, discussing, and as and when they get translated into confirmed orders, we keep announcing the same to the street. So, of course, that's an execution from an order book perspective. Now, if you look at our manufacturing capacity, we've augmented capacity to be able to do 4.5 gigawatts of wind turbine manufacturing in a year. But, at the same time, when we look at on-ground execution, whether it is land infrastructure, power evacuation infrastructure, that for the industry and therefore for Suzlon is yet to pick up at that same pace. While there is a significant ramp up on ground that we are seeing, but the pace of it is slower as compared to the order intake and our ability to ramp up manufacturing. So from a next year perspective, whilst again we don't give any guidances in particular, but there are now as a stock over half a dozen analyst reports out there which give various scenarios and analysis estimates from their own.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well. So, okay, that's one. I mean, and therefore, the projections out there for what you do in FY26 range between 2250 to 2500 crores as well. And we'll get to that. I first want, Himanshu, a set of, because when you mentioned the 4.5 gigawatt capacity, your operational capacities don't really matter as much, right? Because expanding, or if you have a large order to execute it, it's very easy for you to add and execute. So, that's not where I'm getting at. What I'm trying to understand is, do you see the move from 3.3 to higher capacity turbines being swift, or that is not going to be the case right now?
No, that is going to take some time. Most of our industry, whether it's us or our peers, are actually offering a turbine which is, give or take a 3 to 3.5 megawatt. So, if you look at, and the reason why I say that, any higher capacity turbine is at least a few years out, because if you look at, the size of blades or the right of way issues or the height of the cranes that's available in the country currently, it's just about sufficient to service a 3x turbine, let's call it that. The minute you introduce a higher capacity turbine, it poses certain more challenges on right of way and crane availability, etc. Not that those won't get sorted, but I think the 3x as a industry needs to get stabilized first before we start looking at higher capacity turbines.
Fair call. The other aspect is from people who attended your con call and trying to project what could happen in the future. The hypothesis is that O&M revenues will nudge between 1,300 to 1,400 crores, let's say in either FY27 or maybe earlier, but that year onwards. Would that be a fair assessment?
No, so O&M revenues today are currently about 2,000 crores on an annualized basis.
Okay, I'm sorry, then I've got the number wrong. But okay, please tell me what happens to the fixed O&M income. So if it's 2,000 crores currently,
So fixed O&M income, at least for FY25, FY26, we'll see an inflationary growth. What we did say on the conference call that, the margin of give or take about 40% is something that we will maintain on the O&M side. The nature of business is such that, whatever turbines we are supplying or commissioning on the ground, the first 2 years is a free O&M that we offer to our customers. Therefore, those turbines are non-revenue generating from an O&M perspective. But from the third year onwards, they come into our revenue stream. So, whatever we supplied in FY25 will start earning revenue from an O&M perspective in FY28. So if you look at the predictability of the O&M business over a longer term, it's more like an annuity cash business for the company. And that's an integrated offering that we give to our customers, against which we assure them a certain minimum availability of the turbines and a comprehensive O&M service.
Okay, just that number then, Himanshu. I mean, let's assume that you would have done some supplies previously which might be fructifying in FY26 or FY27 or thereabouts. Pick up any year that you choose, but give me a sense of what is it that the O&M revenues could be like, fixed O&M revenues from a particular year, if you will, if you can kind of hypothesize.
Sure. So as I said, FY26, I think we'll again see just an inflationary growth because supplies till FY23 were quite muted. We will actually see a significant uptick in O&M revenue from later part of FY27 and fully from FY28 onwards, wherein our O&M revenue could
Sorry, the number is?
No, so very difficult for me to give you a number, and I don't want to give any guidance on the same. But I was giving you a number on the fleet. So today the fleet that we have about 15 to 16 gigawatts under maintenance. By FY28, I think that number we should be touching based on our current order book and deliveries would be close to about 20 gigawatts.
Okay, so
that's about a 25 to 30% increase in the fleet.
Okay, and sorry, my last question out here. I'm extending to say no, but do the revenues expand almost proportionally to the fleet? Is it safe for me to do a 20-25% growth from the 2,000 crores that you're doing right now? I'm not asking for guidance, I'm just asking for the math.
Yeah. But over a period of time, as I said, it's a 2-year.
Agree.
But over a period, yes.
Okay. And Himanshu, last question with regard to the budget, because that's going to be critical as well. What are your expectations? What does the industry need?
So from an industry perspective, I would say, the entire renewable energy industry, there is a target and aspiration which the industry set out to achieve of close to about 500 gigawatts of renewable energy installations by 2030, a large part being solar, and about 100 gigawatts out of that is wind. So wind industry is today at about 48 to 49 gigawatts. As an industry, we are looking to double that in the next 5 years. So any, I would say unidirectional, we are very focused on that as an industry. So any incentives, SOPs to ensure that the industry achieves that target or even expeditiously gets there would of course be a most welcome move. Whatever those SOPs are, I don't want to get into those specifics, but our wish list would be that we just continue our journey as an industry to ensure that we get to that 100 gigawatt target by 2030.
Fair point. Thank you so much, Himanshu, for coming in and speaking with us. Always a pleasure getting perspective from a large player in the wind industry, as you are.
Thank you.
But let me quickly switch focus. Shivangi, A Suzlon, would that at all feature? Just want to quickly take a technical check. Of course, stock locked in upper circuit today.
Yes. An outperformer from the last 2 years itself. And we've seen that, today itself, we've seen a negation of the last few many lower top, lower bottom formation on the daily frame as well. So now some pullback move is, of course, expected and is sustaining, but it's important to hold above 50 levels for the next rally towards 55 odd levels. So this would be an important zone to watch out for.
Okay. I'm going to thank